Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline, and if there's anything that isn't quite working for you or anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about working with the 5 khandhas in our Vipassana practice. Usually in English we translate the 5 khandhas as the 5 aggregates. Now, in our previous video on Samasananyana, we were speaking a little bit about the building blocks of our Vipassana practice, these momentary building blocks of materiality and mentality. And we were saying that if we take all of these momentary building blocks as a pie, then there are different ways that we can slice up this pie. Now, when we choose to slice this pie into 5, we've essentially got the 5 aggregates or the 5 khandhas. It's just one way of slicing up ultimate reality, but it's a very powerful and a very popular way of slicing up the pie, so I want to speak about it today in a little bit more detail. So first of all, what are the 5 aggregates? What are these 5 slices of the pie, the 5 khandhas? Well, the first slice is what we call the Rupa Khandha, which is materiality, everything which makes up the physical world, including the body. The second slice is the Vedana Khandha, and Vedana is often translated as feeling. It is the experience of things being either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, the mental factor which gives rise to the experience of either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. The third slice is the Sanya Khandha, usually translated as perception. The fourth slice is the Sankhara Khandha, usually translated as volition. And the fifth slice is the Vijnana Khandha, usually translated as consciousness. Now, what makes these khandhas? Well, the word khandha means lump or heap or mass. And what it means is that rather than dealing with just one instance of materiality or one instance of Vedana or one instance of perception, instead we are dealing with the whole lump, the whole mass of these things. And so we say that we're dealing with all materiality, past, present, future, internally, externally, inferior, superior, gross and subtle, far and near. In other words, all materiality that has ever existed, will ever exist, internally, externally, all varieties of it. And the same with the other 4 khandhas. Now, why are these 5 khandhas such a powerful framework to work with? Well, the reason is that they are very commonly mistaken for being self. Famously, the Buddha said that we often wrongly assume either that one of these khandhas is ourself, or that we own one of these khandhas, or that we are in one of these khandhas, or that these khandhas are in us. So we might wrongly imagine, for example, that I am materiality. For example, I am this body. Or we might wrongly imagine I own this body. Or we might wrongly imagine this body is in myself, or myself is in this body. We might also imagine, taking a different one of the khandhas, I am my consciousness. Or we might wrongly imagine consciousness is mine. Or we might imagine consciousness is in me, or I am in consciousness. And we can make these mistakes with all of the 5 khandhas. So when we're practicing with the 5 khandhas, we want to take them one by one, and we want to practice to see each of them, first of all, as being impermanent, momentarily arising and passing away. Then we want to practice to see them as being dukkha, suffering. Because they are momentarily arising and passing away, there's nothing which can be stable or the basis for happiness. We then want to practice to see each khandha as being non-self, not me, not mine, conditioned. And we want to do that well, not superficially, not just intellectually. We want to absorb in those perceptions of impermanent suffering and non-self, anicca, dukkha, anatta. So that's what I have to say today about working with the 5 khandhas in our Vipassana practice. It's a very important framework for us all to master. If there's anything that's unclear to you, anything you're not sure about, then be in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. But now is the time to get off of those screens. Get onto the cushions, actually do some practice. There's a remainderless ending of all suffering, so let's not waste time. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.